Thank you for tuning in to the Clay Edwards Show here on the Save Jackson YouTube channel at SaveJXN. You could be watching this somewhere else, but it's emanated from YouTube. Please hit subscribe, like, share, hit that little bell so you can get a notification every time we post a new video. When news breaks, we break with it. I hope y'all remember that little slogan. I want to say it's from Not Necessarily the News. Was a short-lived show on HBO back in the 80s. News breaks, we break with it. Or maybe that's from Anchorman. Either way, it's supposed to be funny. I'm not taking myself too serious here. How about some good news? How about some good news for downtown Jackson? You know, I love nostalgia. I love these old restaurants. I support people who want to invest into these old restaurants and keep them alive, keep these Jackson traditions alive. The Mayflower, legendary. I mean, I know I throw that word around a lot. Legendary. I mean, anything that survived in Jackson for more than 10 years is officially legendary. It ain't easy. The Mayflower reopened with a packed house of folks seeking classic nostalgia. Let's go over here to WLBT. And it's going to be, we're going to end the video with what y'all are going to think is a little negative Nancy. It's not. I'm just cautiously optimistic. We'll call it good news you can use. Here we go from WLBT.
The Mayflower Cafe reopens to a packed house, filling a void for customers in downtown Jackson. Take a look at this. Jackson's oldest restaurant is buzzing with excitement now. Every table and booth filled with customers you see right there who heard about the opening and wanted to be among the first to get a meal. Hunter Evans and Cody McCain, owners of LV's, bought the 89-year-old eatery back in April. Now, during the lunch rush, some Mayflower fans were disappointed to find there was no space for them.
We opened LV's 4 years ago in Jackson. We're very committed to Jackson. We love the city of Jackson, and we didn't want to see something like this disappear.
It's really cool to see how much this place truly does mean to a lot of people, to drop whatever plans they had for lunch that day and to come here.
The Mayflower now offers cocktails and wine.
You know, so they didn't mention this in the video, but they also, my understanding is they brought the restrooms inside the main building. I knew that that once if it ever closed to reopen, that was going to be something to be handicap accessible. They were going to have to bring it up to current code. So that was one of the reasons why it stayed open as long as it did. And they never did it because that's quite an expensive thing. If you've ever been to the Mayflower, here to if you go down the sidewalk there was a single wide staircase that went upstairs, and that's where the restrooms were. So it wasn't anything convenient about it. And if the weather was rainy or cold or too hot in the summer, you know, you kind of had to endure the conditions in the middle of eating to go use the restroom, about the equivalent of having to use a porta potty at a fancy steakhouse. So glad to see they brought that in. But that was kind of part of the nostalgia, you know, kind of part of the charm, so to say, was the restroom. It didn't hurt business. And I was thinking it had been open 70 years. It's been open 89 years. It hadn't been closed long. It was only closed. They bought it, closed it for the remodel, and reopened it. I don't know these guys. Kudos to them for doing it. Glad to see that last week's mass shooting right across the street from it hasn't affected it. Hopefully, I hate to say this about any business, but if that kind of stuff is happening at your business, it needs to stay closed. And I said it in a previous video. I know the owner of the daiquiri bar. He kind of got stuck with it after his business partner got murdered at a barbershop on McDowell Road. Neither here nor there. That just happened last week. If you remember right, we'll jump back over here. It is directly across the street from the daiquiri bar. Again, I know y'all are going to look at this like I'm being intentionally negative. I'm not. I want y'all to go support the Mayflower. I intend on going down there and supporting it myself. I'd love to see it with the fresh coat of paint on it, so to say. But it is directly across the street from right here where this mass shooting happened. I know I'm not doing them any favors by mentioning that, but you know, it's my job to save y'all from Jacksonians. That's what the Save Jackson name comes from. It's not really about saving Jackson. It's about kind of saving you from Jacksonians. Don't mean doesn't go to Jackson. It just means if you go, be aware of your surroundings. As my friend Kim Wade says, you better stay strapped down in Jacktown if you go, and you better be prepared to do the belt buckle crawl if you hear somebody else that was strapped down start unloading their clapper, whatever you want to call a firearm. So get down there, support it, man. I think it's neat. We need to support these Jackson traditions like the Mayflower. The, not many of them are left. You've got Chrishell's over on Highway 80. It's survived for dang near as long as the Mayflower, I think. Not quite 89 years, but it's been there a solid 60, 70 years at least. It's still open, still thriving. People are still going down there and eating. They've got security out front. You got to. It's on Highway 80. But we've lost so many of these iconic establishments over the last few years, and Mayor Chokwe Antar Lumumba put the fork in a few of them with COVID restrictions. And Tate Reeves, he deserves some of that credit as well with his ridiculous mandates. But more so on Antar, Chokwe Antar Lumumba, the worst mayor in the history of America, is the current mayor in Jackson, Mississippi right now. So, we lost the elite. Howlin' Miles has changed ownership. But hey, sometimes, a fresh set of eyes, a fresh set of hands, some fresh ideas is good for a place. People get complacent, get content. They just get burned out. The service industry, I owned a nightclub. I know I say this all the time, but literally one block up from here on the next corner, the big 3-story brick building that was once called the Catwalk. It was 105 when I had it. Did it for 10 years almost. You get burned out. There's only so many fresh coats of paint you can put on something. So for somebody to be able to go in and keep the energy for 89 years, one family, to be passed down from generation to generation, to keep that energy, to keep these establishments open, it deserves to have documentaries made about it, books written about it, videos like this done about it. It's been in movies. It's really, really rare. So we need to support these places because there ain't many left. Martin's doesn't get the credit it deserves for being a long, long-lasting Jackson tradition. Joseph Stodgel has it now. It's been in their family for years. His father, Calvin, had it previously, and I'm not sure if maybe his grandfather had it before that or if they bought it from the original owners. I'm not 100% sure on the lineage of Martin's, but, he more than gave it a fresh coat of paint. He bought the connecting building, knocked the walls out, completely redid it. It's like a brand new establishment in there, but it's still got that cool old vibe. Love Martin's. And to me, Martin's has the best food of any restaurant downtown. And frankly, it's not a close second. Not saying the other places ain't good. I'm just saying I love Martin's that much. Like Blue Plate lunches, country fried steaks, stuff like that. Seafood, I'm not a big seafood guy. So I couldn't tell you who's got the best seafood. I've always heard that the Mayflower had great redfish, always got the ribeye. When I went about 10 years ago, got the ribeye, was just a bad experience. I have not been back, but I grew up going there a lot. I always remember, I think you could bring your wine in. My parents would take a bottle of wine. What's your memory of the Mayflower? Glad to see it back open. Glad to see that iconic sign lit back up. The waves here on the awning, all working, crashing. Looks really cool. Excited to see it open. Get out there, support it. I know I'll be doing the same. Check out my radio show every Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m., 103.9 FM, WYAB, The Clay Edwards Show. As always, hit subscribe, hit like, hit share. And hey, if you've enjoyed a little too much Mayflower, one too many country fried steaks from Martin's, you can't afford Ozempic, reach out to Men's Health Mississippi. The state has unbanned. They're actually unbanning something in Mississippi, quite the rarity. They've unbanned compounded semaglutide. Long story short, basically it's generic Ozempic, and you can get it here locally. You don't have to get it mail order anymore through a telemarketer, telehealth, or any of that stuff. You can go see a personal physician here, and you're not going to pay a penny more than what it costs online, and you're going to have a local physician to pick it up from them directly and be able to track your weight through your physician. That's Men's Health in Mississippi. Text weight loss to 601-327-8550, but only if you need to lose 20 pounds or more. This stuff works. It works that dang good. You only need to lose 5 or 10 pounds. You just need to cut back on the carbs. If you need to lose 20 or more, text weight loss to 601-327-8550. I will see you guys on the radio and back here when news breaks. We'll break with it.